Welcome, everyone. I'm Bonita from Pennies to Dollars. And with prices going up, I always like to focus on the positive. So today we're going to talk about what are some things we can control. Maybe we can't control the prices, but there are things within our grasp. So I hope you'll stick around. Hi, I'm Bonita and I am early retired. I'm not old enough yet for Social Security. I'm living on a low income and I am living off of savings. I live in Kansas on a farm and I have a donkey. This is Brownie. I have frugal videos all year round, and I hope that you will join me this year as we share ways to save money and live our dreams. Food costs are always on everybody's mind. It seems like it's the topic of the day. So I will start with food costs. They are within our controls to a certain degree, depending on what we choose to buy. And sometimes we will get a little closed minded because we will always grab the things we're used to grabbing, make the foods we're used to making, and think that that is what we have to do. And it just costs that much. But I challenge you today to think differently, to think, are there different foods I can grab that will do the same thing? I used to buy a lot of canned mixed vegetables when my kids were at home. I felt like they were getting all their vegetables in a can, and I felt really good feeding that to them. I also would buy canned carrots from time to time. Those are two things I never buy anymore. For one, I think canned carrots are just mushy after you've had the real thing and you've had the fresh thing. So I don't even care for them to have on hand to throw in soups. And mixed vegetables, if you really look at it, most all of the can is majority of carrots. And carrots, one of the cheapest produce items that we can buy. So I never buy anything like those two items anymore because they can be anywhere from 75 cents to $1.29 a can or higher. And I can get a whole bunch of carrots for usually $1 a pound or less. So I get a lot more bang for my buck by just not stocking those canned carrot foods. So there's just a few things like that that I have changed over the years because I realized that the way I was doing it, there was a better way. Also, I know a lot of people buy like frozen diced onions and frozen diced peppers and onions. Those are things we sold at our grocery store when we had one. But I have never bought frozen onions because I feel like onions are cheap enough and easy enough to grow that I can chop and freeze my own and use them the same way. All it's doing is taking me just a little bit of time to chop those and throw them in a bag. So that's two things that I do not buy. I either grow my peppers, which sometimes we eat more peppers than I grow, or I buy them when they're on sale and I buy a bunch, or I buy them on clearance in those red bags and I chop them all up and freeze them, which is the same thing as just buying them already chopped and frozen. I know a lot of people think they're getting a good deal on those peppers and onions that they buy from Dollar Tree. But again, when I have ever purchased that, I think it was mostly onions. So, kind of the same philosophy as the mixed vegetables. So, I went by Ollie's when I was going to my soccer game this week, and I picked up a few things I'm going to show you that I felt like were really good deals to have on hand. I picked up some chives because I was out. These were $1.29. I picked up this big container of dried minced onions, which I use in some of my spice mixes that I showed you in a couple of those last videos. This was $1.99. And I also picked up some onion powder because I use it in my spice mixes as well. And this was $1.79. I feel like Ollie's has good prices on spices. As some of you know, I picked up some bulk spices in Mexico this past winter for pennies. But these are some items that they didn't have. So I knew I was going to have to get these somewhere when I caught them on a great deal. So I keep that running grocery list going. So when I catch something at a great deal, I snag it up. I also had used up all my kidney beans. I bought 2 packages in Texas. I've already used a little bit of those, and they still had kidney beans at Ollie's. This is a 2-pound bag for $2.49. That makes them like $1.25 a pound. You can't even get them that good of a deal at Dollar Tree because they're 12 ounces. So I grabbed another of these because even dried beans have really gone up. They know that we are resorting to some of those foods that are more affordable, and the prices and the demand is starting to raise. So even though I have my own water well and my own water pump, another thing that we do is we try to conserve water because it does take electricity to pump our water. So you can save like water from your rice if you rinse it and put it on your vegetables. It's supposed to actually be healthy and nutrient rich for your vegetables rather than having it go down the sink. Now, sometimes I rinse mine and sometimes I don't, depending on what I'm making. But saving your water in little ways like that can really help make a difference on your water bill or your electric bill if you live rural like me. So, next time you are getting ready to rinse your vegetables or something and let it go down the sink, just catch that water and use it on your plants. Use it for something like that you would be using fresh water for, because rinsing vegetables, that's going to be absolutely fine to pour on your plants, and you've just saved a little bit of money. The third thing that I do to help with costs, and I know many of you have mentioned that you do this as well, is I share and trade things with my grown adult children. In fact, my youngest daughter's watching my plants while we go to Florida for vacation, and she mentioned that she really likes celery. And I have 2 giant celery plants that are just getting away from me. We have so much frozen celery. So I may just give one to her at least for the summer so that she can harvest it and take care of it and fill her own freezer. She doesn't have room in her tiny home to bring it in during the winter, so I may have to take it back. And I also have several Swiss chard plants that she's watching, and I may just leave one of those with her as well. But her husband, he works at one of those home improvement centers. And at the end of the year, they throw away all their seeds from that year and they buy all fresh the next year. I guess thinking they're not as potent, but I still used tomato seeds that belonged to my dad from almost 16 years ago to grow my tomatoes last year. So there may be some truth to that, but I really haven't seen it. So they let the employees take all these seeds they're throwing away. And he took some home and gave to her and brought me a ton of seeds for me. So they were ones I didn't have. They're really fun ones like red lettuce and cantaloupe and a bunch of stuff that I didn't have. And so we got to share those seeds. What a great way to save money. And my oldest daughter, she had the Wizard of Oz book, and I wanted to read it. I had never read it before, and I heard that it's so different than the movie. And so she loaned that to me, and that's one of the books that I read when I was in Texas. So share and loan things among yourselves, with your adult children, with your family that you maybe live close to. It can save you some money in the long run. The next few are from our viewers, and I do some of these as well. The fourth one is our viewers are going to do more mending. I started doing that when I retired, and you'd be surprised how much more life I got out of some very basic pieces of clothing and kept me from buying them for another year. The fifth one is selling unused items. And I did a lot of this last year as I was decluttering, and I made some decent money by doing it. And I got things out of the house, and I knew that the next person was going to get more life out of it and it didn't get tossed in a dumpster. I think that is a total win, and I love being able to do that. The sixth way is some of our viewers are going to be shutting off their TV and their laptops when they're not in use. We do that as well. Number seven, some of our viewers are going to try to stop their impulse buying, and we also do that. Number eight, some of our viewers are going to stop using the drying cycle on their dryer and just use the tumble part to get some of the wrinkles out, hang the rest, because that drying cycle is the part that costs you more money when that heating element heats up. And then also they're doing that on their dishwasher, which we mentioned that in one of our other recent videos. I don't have a dishwasher, but I think that is a tremendous way to save on your electric bill. Number nine, some of our viewers are going to use the library more. In fact, I had one book of a series that I could not find. And when I got back here, I called our local library that's about 20 miles away, and they had it. And I went and picked it up. So now I have a book to finish my series this summer. Number 10, many viewers are batch cooking and freezing meals. Number 11, many viewers are cooking more Depression era recipes, which we do that pretty much as a rule. That's why I have those two Depression era cookbooks. They have our favorites that we use a lot. Number 12, some of our viewers are going back to using handkerchiefs instead of Kleenex. I grew up with handkerchiefs. I still have a bunch of handkerchiefs. In fact, I don't even keep tissues in our bedroom. I just keep a handkerchief by my bed because a lot of times all I need to do is dab my nose at night, and I don't want to blow my nose and wake up my husband. So I actually use handkerchiefs at night, and we do have tissues for during the day downstairs. Number 13, many people are starting a balcony garden that are living in apartments. I'm so excited for you. I hope it turns out great. Anything you can grow is a help, and it's fun. Number 14, many of our viewers are starting to take advantage of more senior discounts and senior grocery days. I wish we had those here, but we don't. Once in a great while, Dylan's used to do one, but I was working then. And I even called the store and asked them, "Do you have any senior days?" And they said, "No, not right now. Once in a while, it's a bonus thing. And when it is, we'll advertise it." Number 15, one of our viewers said to know your produce. Know which produce lasts longer, which produce lasts a short amount of time and you need to use it first, and which produce falls in the center. She does grocery shopping like once a month. And so she knows that she needs to use a few of those things right away because they'll go bad. Some of those things in the middle, like grapes, will last longer. Some of those things that will last a month, like cabbage. And she paces her meals and sets them up like that so that her produce lasts an entire month. And then number 16, another thing that this viewer also did is she cuts and shreds her cabbage and lettuce cores and puts it in her salads. She saves her liquid from her canned fruits and uses it or freezes it and adds it to things. And she saves her fat from her meat, which we do that too. I grew up saving fat. We always saved grease from hamburger. We saved our vegetable oil if we used it. We saved our shortening, and we saved our bacon grease. For some reason, a lot of people just save bacon grease. I always find that strange because we grew up having a can and we saved every type of grease. And she really focuses on no waste, which I think a lot of us do because we've realized how much money was really getting wasted after we purchased. So maybe some of our purchases are smaller, more well thought out, or just more well preserved once we get it home. We're taking the time to chop, prepare, and make sure our refrigerators are staying clean and the things are staying visible so that we don't waste anything before we go and buy more. And then the most beneficial way that I've been able to control my costs is to keep an inventory of what I have in back stock and what I have in my freezer. Keeping this homemade chalkboard above my freezer that I made out of an old dresser mirror for a frame that the mirror had broken, and painting the chalkboard paint on the wall and then putting that up there has saved me so much money. And this is something that I really feel has benefited me in so many ways because I now know what is in the bottom of my freezer. I know whether it's even worth taking my time to dig for something because is it there or is it not there? And it keeps me from overbuying because I don't think I have something that I may already have five of. And that gives me time to purchase things on a sale rather than grabbing something because I think I'm out. So I hope that this video has been helpful to you. I know there are more things that we can control as costs rise. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I always love hearing from you, and I hope to see you soon.